says the Lord, and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
On a Sabbath, Jesus went to dine at the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and the people there were observing him carefully. He told the parable to those who had been invited, noticing how they were choosing the place of honor at the table. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not recline at table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him. And the host who invited you may approach and say, "Give your place to this man." And then you would proceed with embarrassment to take the lowest place. Rather, when you are invited, go and take the lowest place, so when the host comes to say, he may say, "My friend, move up to a higher position." Then you will enjoy the esteem of your companions at the table. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but who humbles himself will be exalted. Then he said to the host who invited him, "When you hold a lunch or dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers or your relatives or your wealthy neighbors in case they may invite you back and you have repayment. Rather, when you hold a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind. Blessed indeed will you be because of their inability to repay. For you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Please be seated. I'm sure we've all heard the expression, "You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours," which of course means you do me a favor and I'll do you one in return. But where did this expression, this saying, come from? Every saying, as we know, gets its start with one person saying it, and then it just catches on. Well, this expression came from the 17th century in the British Navy. Back then, the sailors were always getting into trouble, and the common form of punishment was tying them up to the mast and then lashing them with a whip. Well, the sailors, they came up with a very devious plan. They told the sailor that was doing the lashing, said, "Look, we know that eventually you're going to be getting into trouble too. So today, when you do the whipping, just barely scratch my back. We'll make it look real, but just barely scratch my back. And inevitably, the day that you are right where I am today, I'll do the same for you. So you scratch my back, and I'll scratch yours." In the gospel reading today, we basically see the same kind of thing. A man has invited a bunch of people over to his house for a banquet. And he's not doing it merely because they're good friends of his and he wants to show his appreciation. His ulterior motive is so, excuse me, that when they have a banquet, they will in turn invite him. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. And then to compound things, the guests are all clamoring to get the seats nearest to the host, which in their eyes signifies their importance. Well, Jesus is there, and he's looking at all this, and I'm sure he's just shaking his head, and he sees this as a perfect opportunity for a teachable moment. And he tells all the guests, "Look, instead of trying to get the seat nearest the host and possibly suffering the embarrassment of being asked to move to the end of the table, start at the end of the table and possibly have the honor of the guest inviting you to sit next to you." Now, can you imagine the people that always have to put the kind of work and effort into this kind of attitude and mindset? How they're always scheming to get into the limelight, and they do things for others just so they can get some payback. And we
see and read about this every day on the national and international level. And I'm sure some of us have even witnessed this in our own personal lives. Now, what would be really good is if we could make this a teachable moment for ourselves. When we hear the words of Jesus, when he says, whoever humbles himself or herself will be exalted. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give up or lose your dignity. This can mean simply doing a good deed for another person, not expecting something in return, or keeping a calm composure instead of flying into a rage when someone cuts you off on the freeway. Now, Jane, she always has this little goodie bag in the car, ready to give to someone who looks like they might be in need. And she doesn't do it because she's expecting something in return. She does it because she knows that that's just a kind Christian gesture, something that Jesus did on countless occasions. And this is the same kind of thing that I've seen and heard many of you do too. So, what kind of world would it be if we all thought the same way? Instead of clamoring for the spotlight or just wanting some payback for something we do, and that's the only reason we do it, instead, just doing a kind deed for somebody with no strings attached and not caring or wanting for any recognition. So as we leave here today, let's take this teachable moment with us, as we feel the deep satisfaction that comes with doing something in humility, and how that will keep a smile on our face. And when people ask us why we're always smiling, we just smile a little bit wider, knowing just how truly blessed we really are. Please stand.
I believe